Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jouni Vielma, and I do come from the Natural Resources Institute, Finland. My background is in aquaculture development, and I'm currently working on the focus area of blue bioeconomy in Luke. I'm going to give you a short introduction about aquaculture in general, especially the Norwegian success story of salmon farming, and then shifting towards the recirculation aquaculture, giving very few technological details about what recirculation aquaculture really is about. You might be familiar with this graph or the data. So the fisheries supply from the nature has been stagnant for about 3 decades. And even though the global population is increasing, the income is increasing, and also the status of healthy seafood is well aware among the people who have more afford to buy the seafood. The supply side is stagnant, but the demand is met nowadays by aquaculture. And aquaculture, which means farming of fish and crustacea and mollusk, that has been the fastest growing agri-food sector for the last 10, 20 years. And certainly a large part of that increase is taking place in Asia, but also Norway is a big success story, as I already said, in salmon farming. This photograph shows pretty typical modern salmon farm in Norway. These farms, the sector is controlled by huge and vertically integrated food giants, actually. The fish are produced in open cage systems like this one. The vessel or the ship you see in the right-hand side low corner of the photograph, that's a feed barge. So it's actually a vessel, a ship, which is a feed silo, and the fish are automatically fed from the silo, and that silo also has an office room, and it's filled by container ships automatically. Nobody has to be at the farm when the hundreds of tons of feeds are imported to the farm site. So it's huge industry and very automatic industry nowadays in Norway. These two data graphs show the average size of the farm that has been increasing, and also the average company size. One company owns several sites. So it's a big business and very integrated, and the productivity has increased a lot in the last 2 decades. Of course, the increase in productivity it actually means that there are less jobs created at the farm site, but there are more jobs in connecting sectors and industry, like feed sector and logistics, and of course processing and trade and things like that. And the key role in this productivity increase has been innovation. I'm citing a very renowned study by renowned fisheries economists in Norway, and they have analyzed the productivity increase in the sector. And the increase is due to developed farm technology on the logistics, the feeds and feeding, and also some genetic improvements, or actually not some, but huge genetic improvements have been made, and for example vaccines have been developed. So the productivity has increased through innovations. Of course, there are jobs behind these innovations, if I come back to the theme of today. But this productivity increase is slowing down. It's still the production price is above the production costs, but the productivity is not increasing that much anymore. And the lack of proper farm sites, even though Norway has a huge coast and a lot of fjords, and we think that there should be a lot of room for increasing the production still, and there is, but still they are facing the lack of proper farm sites. Another important issue is the feed and the ingredients of the feed, but that's another story then. This graph shows the relation of the Finnish production to the Norwegian one. There has been one single new license for cage farming in Finland during the last 20 years. Last year, one new farm started in the archipelago or outer archipelago in the southern western Finland, and the production of that farm is 300 tons. So it was an average size of a Norwegian farm back in 20 years ago, or even more than that. And then the Finnish production about 13 million kilos. Well, that's about double to Norwegian, one single Norwegian company. Most of these companies are in the Oslo stock markets, and so that's a bit of a measuring stick between Norway and Finland. But both of these countries, in Norway, because of the lack of size, especially producing the small fish, which are then put to the sea, and in Finland, the bottleneck of the production has been this licensing, or actually, well, not licensing is not the problem. The environmental concerns, that is the reason for the stagnation. Both of these countries and different production sectors, or ecosystems actually, they are looking at a new technology, well, not new technology, but pretty new and fastly developing technology of recirculation aquaculture. Recirculation aquaculture means that the fish which is used for growing out the fish, that is used for 100 times before it's released to the water, to the environment again. So that means that all the nutrients and discharges are much more concentrated, and it's possible to polish the discharges better. That photograph is from Eckerö, Åland Islands. I think I took that photo from YouTube. There are 2-3 people from Åland Island today here. That site is now in production, but it's not in full production yet. The full production target for that farm is around 3,000 tons, which is more than half of the current Åland Island production in different cage sites. So it's a huge enterprise for this sector, at least. More than 20 million investment, and probably it's the biggest recirculation aquaculture farm for rainbow trout currently, globally even, or at least the production target. So what are the reasons to recirculate water? In Finland, the main reason is to reduce the nutrient load and actually get the licenses. It also allows better control, flexible timing for markets, and it's possible to farm species outside the natural range. We can farm basically for tropical fish in Finland. We could farm technologically. And in Norway, the big issue is the sea lice problem. By using these recirculation aquaculture farms, a lot of these parasite problems can be avoided, and also it's less dependent on the water source, so you can basically place a farm like that in the middle of the city. This is a brief description of the technology used in recirculation aquaculture. I'm not going to the details, but some engineering mind people among the audience might know that these technologies are very much used also in the municipal water plants. It has particle filtrations, it has biological filtration, nitrification units, denitrification units could be included. It has aerations, oxygenation, disinfection by UV or ozone. And also the discharge water, there's sludge thickening units, coagulation, flocculation, technologies that are normally used in municipal water treatment plants. Okay, so there's a lot to develop, and developing them will create jobs, hopefully also the production at the very end of the day. This is an example of new recirculation farm in Denmark. They are aiming at farming yellow tail, I think the species was, and it's targeted for the European sashimi markets. So it's a high-end, high-value fish, which is going to be produced in a system like that in the low hand, in the low part of the graph. The construction started last week, actually, on that site. And what are we going to do at Luke for in all this, in especially developing the RAS systems? We recently invested in RAS research environment, or RAS R&D system at Laukaa, Luke. The system will be used in close collaboration with the Finnish aquaculture companies. We have already had 2 workshops with the companies where we are aiming at creating a common understanding what should be developed, what kind of technologies should be developed, and by using this common platform we help the Finnish sector to create jobs in aquaculture. The RAS farming is not an easy business yet, so there's a lot of things to do at the R&D side before it will create jobs at the farming, but that's something we are working with. Okay, thank you for your attention.